Hello, Marvelous Legends. We're back, and this is a big one, okay? This is my first fan-requested video from a man called Thomas Gondel. I think that's how you pronounce his name. There's a little umlaut over one of the letters, and I'm not much of a cunning linguist. But he requested the top 10 Marvel Legends figures. Now, I said in a couple of videos ago, when I hit 200 subscribers, I was gonna throw out to that lucky 200 subscriber, you get to nominate whatever topic you want me to do. And when I figured out who that 200th was, man, I fired up a little email and didn't hear nothing back. So you know what? The offer still stands, Mr. 200. You pick up on that? I mean, I don't know, I'm not a clever YouTube person. Maybe I sent it to the wrong place or something. I don't think so though. But that notwithstanding, Thomas stepped in and he was like, you know what, I'm number 173 or 176, but if you want a suggestion, how about top 10 Marvel Legends? And you know what, I thought, this has got the creative juices flowing now. So, a quick proviso first. I feel like I might get a little bit verbose on this one. I know you're thinking, what, Dave, you really verbose? Get out of here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna ramble for a bit, so I'm actually gonna do 2 videos. I'm gonna do this long form one, and then I'm gonna do a quick fire, like 10-minute, you know, Dave displays model behavior, top 10 Marvel Legends, boom, 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 boom. Because I don't know with the YouTube algorithms, like what is actually most popular, what gets the most clicks and stuff. So we're gonna find out. I'm gonna do the long epic one for Jeb when he's, you know, feeding the baby, and I'm gonna do the shorter one for someone who's just like on the go and wants to find out what my top 10 favorite Marvel Legends are. Because of course, like I'm sure everyone in the world over is like, well, I know we can cure world hunger, but what top 10 legends does Dave prefer? You know, inquiring minds want to know. So, this has not been easy. I've decided, like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna dive in and like, right, look at my collection, top 10. But, you know, it is like trying to choose between your children. I mean, not literally for me, because I don't want kids. So, if I did have children, I'd be like, I don't want any of you. You can all go. I'm indifferent, to be honest. So this is harder, all right? That's what I'm trying to say, is that this is harder than choosing between your children. And I should know, because I have Marvel Legends. So, without another proviso, I've done a couple of top 5s. I've done, I've done worst 5, which is worst 5 Spider-Verse figures, which I'll have a link for in the description. But I also did top 5 Spider-Verse figures. And of course, you know, a lot of those figures would arguably rank in my top 10 overall. But the fact of the matter is, I want to give you guys some fresh content. I don't want to retread old ground, so I've taken those figures out of consideration. So Custom Kane, no. Big Time Spidey, no. Kane, Scarlet Spider. You guys get to stay in the shelves, all right? Because these are my new top 10 Marvel Legends. So let's get to it. Number 10. Coming in at number 10, we have the Venom Wave Carnage. Check out Cletus Cassidy here in all his symbiotic red, black, and goopy glory. This figure was one that they just nailed. This is the second Carnage that we had. Of course, we had in the very first wave. The very first wave of Marvel Legends, we had ourselves a Carnage figure, and it was decent. You know, that first wave was a real mixed bag, but the Carnage kind of stood out as like, okay, this is setting a promising standard, but oh boy did they improve on just about everything. This is clearly, I think, clearly based off of the Mark Bagley Carnage, which is the quintessential Carnage. I mean, come on, Mark Bagley. I'm pretty sure he designed Carnage. I remember reading some interviews and what have you. I got the Carnage trade paperback, which was the first story, like way back in the early 90s when I started collecting, and had like an interview about the creation of Carnage. And first they were going to call him Ravage, then Chaos, and finally Carnage. And interestingly enough, they said that they originally were thinking of having him they wanted him changing all the time to reflect the kind of craziness. So they said, well, maybe he could like change colors all the time. And then they sort of figured, well, that's gonna be difficult for marketing and merchandising, because if he's never the same color, that's gonna get difficult. But then they just came up with this wonderful blood idea, like it's sort of just blood and plasma just dripping and changing and glooping, and it really did set the style and the standard for symbiotes going forward, and it's just captured so beautifully. Each individual little tendril is just sculpted and held in place to perfection. Even the way they come out of his back, it looks like it's spawning out. It's just so well done. You've got the hands, which are, again, these are Carnage hands. These are like the knives that you just, imagine him eviscerating people with. I mean, he's a nasty character, and that nastiness is well and truly captured here. It's just such a great figure. Again, it's like they took Mark Bagley's art and just ripped it off the page and put it onto a figure. The axe. Oh, the axe. This is maximum Carnage. This is, that character, that arc. This is straight out of that story with the huge swinging blade. It's like the Pit and the Pendulum, Edgar Allan Poe kind of thing, swinging over someone like that. It's just, you almost feel like you could nick your finger on it. The paint job on the face is absolutely perfect. The lines between the white of the eyes and the black of the face are so clean and crisp. Now, I can appreciate because of the nature of the character, there's not much sort of accessory like clothing, because that's him. But then instead of that, there's no straps or pockets or pouches or anything, but then you've got all of this extra sculpted goop, which is just wonderful. And that's not all. Why do I love this character? Because it's got added value. It has the extra Cletus head, and this is something that we've wanted for a long time, is a good Cletus Cassidy Carnage head here, and they capture him so well. This is the absolutely perfect, psychotic, terrifying looking Cletus Cassidy face right here. They've just got that maniacal grin with the crazy looking eyes, and just, they nail it. I'm going to try not to use those expressions too much, because I'm just going to use them like 10 times. You're going to hear me go, oh, they nailed it. They nailed it. Did they nail it? Oh, they totally nailed it. But yeah, I put the Cletus head on the original, the first series Carnage body. Why is he missing a hand? More on that later. Trust me, this was an occurrence this morning. You're going to find out about it. It was a whole thing. As my girlfriend would say, it was a lot. It was a real lot. You did not want to be around me this morning. But yeah, the Cletus head is absolutely terrific. You can put it on this body, obviously, and they just work so well. Now we've got Venom Wave 2 coming out very soon. We're getting another Carnage, which at first I was like, do we really need another Carnage? And then of course we got a closer look, and you can see that the black is all sculpted on. It like a whole new body sculpt, and that looks great. So I'm fine to have that new Carnage. This one I think will still be my favorite, because it is so Mark Bagley-ish, and Mark Bagley is my #1 artist of all time. He's my Spider-Man guy. So the fact that his art is captured so well in this, with the swinging axe hand as well, this is an easy top 10 cracker. He only comes in at number 10, but he comes in very comfortably at number 10. Number 9. Next up, we have one that might be quite surprising, and I admit there might even be maybe a little bit of recency bias with this one. In fact, you could argue that with a lot of figures. That's something I have to make very clear, is that it is so difficult choosing a top 10, because even after I chose my top 10, I was then looking at my shelves and being like, oh man, Grey Hulk? How could I leave out Grey Hulk? And retro Goblin. Retro Goblin looks great. Oh man, I need to do another top 10. But hey, maybe once a year I could do like Dave's annual top 10 and see, what figures are jostling for position. But in the meantime, we're up to Rage. Rage. I know, right? You're thinking, really? Rage? Random character included with the Gamerverse wave? Yeah, like seriously, this guy was a real sleeper hit for me. I wasn't even, when I saw him announced and I saw the artwork and the promo pictures, I was like, nah, you know, I'm not really interested. But then I got a closer look and I saw the reviews, and then I started doing more research into the character. And again, I saw he's got the connection to the New Warriors, which gives you that 90s connection, which I love the 90s. It's that halcyon time when I was growing up, and you know, I was doing my GCSEs, I was a kid, you know, you kissed your first girl and all that kind of thing, and then, you know, the heartbreak that happens in those days just still affects the person you are to this one. Anywho, Rage from the 90s is just the bee's knees. I dig him. He doesn't even have any particular accessories or anything, but what he does have just looks great. First of all, being a pro wrestling fan, I love the Lucha Libre mask. You know, this bright yellow mask. He looks like one of the Killer Bees. That's a deep cut for wrestling, but he looks like Jumpin' Jim Brunzell of the Killer Bees? That would be a fun tag team. The Killer Bees. So the Lucha Libre mask looks great. It's got a kind of a Bane aesthetic as well. So I'm a big Bane fan too. So that look looks terrific. And of course, we've got various pictures online of the unmasked version of this head, which is a nightmarish sight to behold, but keeping the mask on, he looks so great. The jacket, I love all the sculpting with his leather jacket, the belt buckles, the silver studs. And what I like, especially with some characters, is I won't be very familiar with them, but I'll be interested in them, so that will encourage me to then go and read up on them and find out about them. And I like the quirky sort of backstory of, you know, him being just a young kid, basically, who ends up in the body of the, or able, is he able to transform into this, or is he just, this is him? I need to check that. Either way, it's a fun story. It's kind of like Shazam. I'm not a DC person, but I know that Shazam is a kid who grows up like something like that. It's like big. I don't know. DC is it's not my bag. I'm not knocking it if it's yours. It's all good, you know. Different folks with different strokes and all that kind of thing, or vice versa, however the expression goes. But yeah, Rage here. There might be some recency bias because he is relatively new to the collection, but I'm so pleased to have him. I think he looks great. And now, along with Night Thrasher and Nova and Nighthawk, yeah, that's 4 new warriors there. So if we can get Justice, Firestar, Namorta, Speedball, gotta get Speedball. If we can collect all the new warriors, I'm gonna be a very, very happy chappy. But this guy, yeah, big old thumbs up for the sleeper hit, I think. The sleeper hit of the Gamerverse wave is my boy Rage here.
Number 8.
Coming in next, we have the Sentinel of Liberty, the Star-Spangled Man with the Plan. And what is your plan today? I am a big fan of Captain America. I always have been. I like the Boy Scout characters. Like I associate a lot with the people who like aren't cool, but they just try and do the right thing. That's not saying I always do the right thing, but I like to I like to think that I do. I often get that wrong, as many exes will tell you, but my heart was always in the right place, and that's what counts. Sorry about the mental trauma, but you know, we just muddle our ways through life, don't we? Anyway, what was I saying? Captain America. Yeah, the Sentinel of Liberty, and just 80th anniversary figure. This guy, this guy is largely responsible for getting me into collecting like the wider Marvel universe, because I was just doing Spider-Man, and then, you know, I walked into Forbidden Planet and I saw Captain America here with Iron Man and Thor next to him, and those are both nice figures too, but this guy just, oh, with the sculpting of the chainmail, the fish scale style, you know, top here, just the red, white, and blue jumping off. And also, there's one thing I really like about Captain America, which I love that they fleshed out in the MCU films as well. It's like, yeah, he's Captain America, but he's not just blind to, you know, jingoism, and, you know, he's not a nationalist. He always stands up for what America should be. And I really like that of the character, you know, always trying to do the right thing, but you're not always able to in a perfect world. And I think it's represented so well. He comes with another head as well, which that's kind of a funny accessory, I think, because it's not that different. You know, you can see they are different. But even when I was trying to decide what head to put on, I was like, well, they're both very similar, really. But yeah, I just think this figure looks great. He encouraged me to get all the other Avengers, and honestly, I'm not mad about that. It's a shame that for an 80th anniversary release, he has the hole in the back. Actually, does his shield clip on there? I suppose, oh, you can put a shield. They finally figured that one out. There you go, that's why. That's why he has the hole on the back, so you can put his shield on. All right, I won't take off any points for that then. But yeah, Captain America, especially with the rest of the Avengers, just looks phenomenal. And of course, it means I get to add him. I think that was my initial excuse for getting him, was that I could then put him in my Spider-Man team for the Maximum Carnage display, which is slowly, painfully slowly, Hasbro. Come on, give us, we got Demogoblin finally. I never thought we'd get him, but give us Shrieking Carrier, come on. But yeah, Maximum Carnage is finally very slowly being put together, and Captain America is a huge part of that. Another reason to bring out Justice and Firestar as well. Come on, Hasbro. But yeah, this figure is absolutely stunning. Look at the light just reflecting off his magnificent shield there. Oh, such a good piece. This was one I had no problem deciding to put in the top 10. This is an easy choice. Captain America, if I do another top 10 in a year's time, I won't be surprised if he's still representing.
Number 7.
Alright, now folks, we're getting the big guns. And I didn't put any kind of provisos on what I was and wasn't allowed to choose. As long as they weren't in my previous Spider-Verse videos, they were fair game. So that also means BAFs and riders and any deluxe figures. They're all equal in my eye, except they're not, as I'm ranking them in a numerical order. With that in mind, Monster Venom. Wow, look at this guy. This is what action figures should look like. Big, imposing, terrifying. Look at the jowls. Look at the tongue. Oh my god. This right here, Hasbro, you crazy bastards. You did it. This is absolutely perfect. I love this guy. Spent so much money trying to put him together on the secondary market, but it was worth it. Oof! Oh, so worth it. It's worth buying friggin' Spider-Ham. That's how worth it was. Look at Monster Venom. Now, first of all, the sculpt. I mean, the sculpt, it just goes without saying. I mean, look at the gnarly, gnashing teeth, the tongue with the soft plastic that you can move about and pull out and it stretches back. Look at the veins in the thighs, like that kind of detail there. Even on the back as well, the veins in the back of the white spider. It's just, everything about it is crafted with so much love and care and detail. You got like the tendons in the neck, like where he's blah. You know, this is what a legend should look like, and they just absolutely killed it with the toenails as well, the individual toes. There was a lot of love and effort and energy that went into crafting this, and that's why obviously they're reusing this body so much, and I've got no problem with them doing that. They can reuse this sculpt as much as they want. They can make Monster Venom, Deluxe Venom, Toxin, any monstrous symbiote character. Give me all of them. I really don't mind in the slightest. If they look this great, then you can just keep pumping them out, because this is awesome. I mean, especially with Monster Venom with the shine, the shiny, glimmering, gleaming paint job. That is something else entirely. That just captures the light in so many great ways when the sun's coming through the window and it'll shine on the display, and I used to have a snake that was called a rainbow boa was the name, and she was called that because her skin was like an oil. It would look like an oil slick when the sun hit it. It was all these rainbow colors, and it's similar to this in that every time the light catches it, it just shines and catches it in a different way. so great, and I love the arc that this is based on. Obviously, it's kind of a different sort of spectrum. There are some characters who I think look cool, and then I'll want to find out about them. And then there are other characters who I, know really, really well, and that sort of, enhances my appreciation of the figure. This is an interesting one in that I had a love-hate relationship with this kind of era of Venom, because I was a huge fan of classic 90s Eddie Brock Venom. And it always kind of irked me that they got so far away from that character. Eddie lost the symbiote, he sold it, and then, he goes and deals with his medical issues, and then, when Gargan has it, we have the redesign. The one thing this is missing is like the eyes, like the individual pupils, which I never really liked, but just if you're being technically accurate, So I wasn't a fan of this big monstrous Venom, but in toy form, awesome. But even though I wasn't a fan of the look, I loved the character, because I loved how conflicted and basically insane Gargan was being driven by the symbiote. I loved that, this really was a curse to him, where Eddie Brock embraced the power, and it was a real sort of loving relationship with the symbiote. Gargan had this strange thing, it was like a drug addiction, because he loved the power that it gave him, but also he knew that it was driving him insane. So he wanted it, but he didn't, but he did. He didn't want to be without it, but he knew it was making him do crazy things like eat people. That's gonna mess you up. And I love that they made a real arc out of that and a real story. Although I always wondered, once Monster Venom eats someone and then he turns back into Gargan, it's gonna be some pretty bad indigestion, isn't it? But still, Monster Venom absolutely killing the game here. What a good figure.
Number 6.
Coming up now, we've got another symbiote, and my goodness, I'm getting glare from sweat. I've been going for half an hour, and I'm working up a sweat from all this animated excitedness. And I think you might have just seen a little glimmer of what's coming up next. Yep, folks, it is Agent Flash Thompson, Anti-Venom. Now, I did a little retrospective on Anti-Venom. One of my first videos was all about Spider-Man's allies, and I did like a little think piece, if you will, on Agent Anti-Venom. But he wasn't in the Spider-Verse top 5, so I get to use him again here, because this figure, talk about bright, bold colors that pop off your shelf. I mean, black and white, just is as stark a contrast as you can possibly get. This is why, wherever he is, I want to just display him more prominently, because he's in Modern Spider-Man, which is down on the floor, and I don't think he gets the shelf recognition, the shelf love that he deserves, because this figure is just a masterpiece of sculpting and care and attention, and it's such a worthy repaint. It's a repaint. There's the original Agent Venom, which is exactly the same, just all black with the white spider, but it's a shame that he is all black, because so much of the detail gets lost, which is now brought out so much more with the white paint job. The amount of sculpting that has gone in to the different details on his pockets and satchels. He's got these grenades and the knife and the different little things to hold his ammunition in all around his belt here. So much work has gone into this, and it's kind of lost in the plain jet black original Agent Venom. So Agent Anti-Venom might be a kind of a goofy concept, but it works. It really works with this design, and especially I love the sort of beetle arachnid style texturing he's got on his shoulder pads here and on the knee pads and the shin guards. Again, straight out of the comics, and I love it. He's got it on his forearm covers as well, and it just reminds me, it's a real insecty, arachnid, sort of creepy. It reminds me of like the spider alien from not Alien, Gremlin from Gremlins 2. It's one of my favorite sequels. Gremlins 2, you got the spider gremlin, and it's this similar kind of insecty, arachnidy kind of texture. It just kind of like, ugh, kind of gives you a chill down your spine, and in the best way. So this is really cool. Actually, have you guys seen some of the mods that the customs that people have done for Shadow King? They use there's a NECA spider gremlin, and they basically take the spider gremlin body and stick the torso of the Kingpin with the Shadow King head on, and just, it looks so cool. I would love to do that, but it would just it would creep me out too much, but it looks amazing. Anyway, I digress. Flash Thompson, anti-Venom. Also, it's not just black and white. You've got these little patches of silver here, these little silver accents, I think smarter people call them. You got the silver there, you got the little gray there, and the gray there, and you got the silver on the bicep as well, and it just adds a little something extra. It breaks up the flow, and again, it catches the light and just makes this guy such a great looking figure. And also, again, as I said in my retrospective, which you should go back and watch, I love the character of Flash Thompson, because one thing about Spider-Man, or about comics in general, really, is that nothing changes. Characters don't change. They change for a bit, and then they change back. There's a status quo which things always tend to go back to. And Flash Thompson, until it's undone, it might be inevitable, but until it's undone, Flash Thompson has changed and evolved, and it's had a whole story. He started out as a jock and a thug, and then he, became friends with Peter. He grew as a person. He dated the Black Cat, and he, became, I think, a football coach. And then, of course, he went to war. He lost his legs. He came back as an injured veteran. Then he joins the Agent Venom program. He becomes a hero. He always idolized Spider-Man, and now he's like a contemporary of Spider-Man, and just, it's just an actual character arc and evolution that changes. And that's what got me into reading comics and getting me obsessed with comics from such an early age, was when, interlude. I really got into comics. I was familiar with Spider-Man and X-Men and what have you, especially from the X-Men cartoon. But this is the most 90s thing ever. I entered an NBA Jam competition on the Sega Mega Drive, which was being hosted by Blockbuster Video. And you would go into Blockbuster and you would try and get the high score on their Mega Drive NBA Jam. And just as a participation award, they gave you these Fleer Ultra X-Men cards. And in hindsight, I'm like, you were giving those away? And I just got given some, and I flicked through them. I was like, what is going on here? Because I recognized the characters, but there was so much backstory, and they were so different. There was all these Age of Apocalypse ones in there, because AOA had just come out. And there was I recognized Wolverine and Cyclops from the X-Men cartoon, but then it's wait, this is Wolverine, but he's missing an arm, and wait, Cyclops has only got one eye, and wait, Wolverine took his eye out, and wait, and then Cyclops cut his arm off, and when? How? What is this world? And then I saw Archangel. Wait a minute. So yeah, I saw his issue in the comics. And then wait a minute, I had a card of Fatal Attractions with Magneto sucking Wolverine's adamantium out, and I'm like, Magneto sucked Wolverine's adamantium. What? That's insane. Fan for life after that. So anyway, all that notwithstanding, Agent Anti-Venom is an easy pick, and well worth his place on the top 10.
Number 5.
Now folks, we're moving into the higher places and some real heavy hitters now. So this is a big guy. A real big guy, the 80th anniversary Hulk. This is one that, obviously, I love this guy. Just look at the size of him. You got your money's worth. And it was a lot of money. Because let's face it, this was the Incredible Hulk figure that came with a free Wolverine accessory. No one bought that pack for Wolverine. Sorry. Comment below if I'm wrong, okay? At least I've put that Wolverine to good use. But this Hulk, this is what people were clamoring for. Again, talk about just nailing the character perfectly. Before I wax lyrical too much about this guy, I gotta say, his inclusion is really only just down to whatever side of bed I happen to get out into today, because Red Hulk, amazing. Grey Hulk, love it. All three of those guys are fantastic, and they all have their different elements, which I think could, jostle for position to get this spot on the top 10. Red Hulk with the flame effects, with the Goblin flame effects on Red Hulk, then he's in consideration. Grey Hulk with that fantastic like Frankenstein's monster type head sculpt and then the crushing pipe. It's such a close run race, but I went for Classic Hulk here because yeah, I'm a big fan of OG characters, classic Marvel. That's why my Avengers is classic Avengers. Also, just financially, I can't afford to get everything. All right, guys, I haven't started a Patreon yet. Maybe I will. But don't worry, I'm not gonna do that today. Or at all. If I do, then don't worry. Like, I'll still do extra video. I'll still do like the same video. So why am I talking about hypothetical? But do send me money if you want. I'd appreciate it. I'm not even furloughed. I'm an actor, so no one needs us at the moment. We're surplus to requirement. I mean, gosh, like when the apocalypse actually hits, I have to admit, like actors are going to be the first to go. It's not like in The Simpsons where it's like, no, the world needs laughter. No, not when you're fighting zombie robots. Actors not going to be much use. But I can, use my Marvel Legends collection to barter my way out of assaults. So that's good. Now then, classic 80th anniversary Hulk. They just score all the right points in all the right ways. He's got the interchangeable hands, so you've got the Hulk smashing fist hands as well. I'm trying to talk slower and calm myself down because I'm sweating too much. What he doesn't have is a changeable head. An interchangeable head would have been fun, but again, like, do you need that? Not really, because what else do you need Hulk to look like? But, like, that's it. That's the Hulk you want. The fact that you can pop the shirt off as well is a huge bonus. Just the fact that you have the choice. I'm always going to display him with it, but it's nice to have that option. And also, like, you see the detailed sculpting on the back. I mean, look at the lats, look at the traps, the rhomboids. This guy, you can tell I used to be a personal trainer. You got the anterior and posterior deltoids here as well, beautifully shown. This is just absolutely wonderful, and you stack him up next to the other big heavy hitters from the Marvel Legends waves, like the Juggernaut. Like, this is perfect. We have Hulk and Juggernaut now. Mwah! Chef's kiss for that. I would love to know what he looks like next to the Rhino Build-A-Figure, but that Build-A-Figure still eludes me. That is, and forever will be, it seems, my first and most sought-after Grail. I got Chameleon, but I still need Rhino himself. But yeah, 80th anniversary Hulk. The design choices, back when he was first created by Lee and Ditko, green and purple. That's why so many characters have this, color scheme, because they work so well in contrast to one another. Again, he's one of these ones who I need to display more prominently because he's kind of hidden behind the other Avengers back there. I need to have him out and about, catching the light and having this beautiful, bright, vibrant green being shown off. And what's also really lovely is they have actually done like a tone. There's a lighter green on the pecs that kind of goes out to the darker green around the rest of the body. It's little things like that make such a huge difference. And even like the toe sculpting is really well done, and you've got the actual texture of the jeans. You've got the jean pockets and the little belt buckles here. There's so much love and care and craft that has gone into this. And he's a big, hefty, weighty figure. This is what, again, Legends should be. And he scales beautifully as well. I like the fact that Hulk can really be as big or as small as the artist wants to draw him. But this is like that perfect medium sort of size for the Hulk. And they've, like I said, previous to the Monster Venom, they've got good use out of this body so far. We've got Grey Hulk, we've got Red Hulk, but honestly, you can make as many as you want, and I'll probably buy them. Especially, I am loving. I've never been a big Hulk comic book fan, but oh my days, the new Hulk, the Devil Hulk run. Is it Al Ewing, the writer? I'm so bad with names. And many other things, but yeah, that current story arc is just fantastic. Like the body horror of that is so great. I love body horror. It creeps me out, but that's why I love it. Yeah, the horror in that story. If they do a Devil Hulk version, maybe like with a Devil Hulk face, and maybe one of the ones where like his chest is torn open or something. There's so much gory, gross artwork in that comic, but this standard, classic, golden era Hulk, absolutely wonderful and well deserving of his place in the top 10.
Number 4.
Whew. Okay, we're down to our top 4 now. Is it top 4? Yeah, I think so. I lose track. Numbers are hard. But I've been going for nearly 40 minutes. So let's see if we can get this done in under an hour, shall we? You see, this is why I have to do a condensed version of this video as well. Especially because I'm about to tell you a little story. A little story about why this video is not out sooner. About 2 hours sooner than whatever time this gets released. It should have come out 2 hours sooner, if not for this guy. This guy right here with his GD throwing sickles. I knew the instant I took him out of his packet and I saw how tiny, teeny tiny those little throwing sickles were. I was like, I'm gonna lose those. And because I'm obsessive compulsive when it comes to these things, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new Moon Knight when I do. It's inevitable. It's eggs as eggs, as sure as day follows night. I'm gonna lose those little bastards and I'm gonna have to buy a whole new Moon Knight because of it. That time was this morning. Almost. When I got Moon Knight out and I was posing him for the video, I dropped him on no less than 3 occasions. And on all 3 occasions, I lost the sickles. And I was like, ah, God! And I was turning things upside down, and I finally found all 3 of them. And after the 3rd time of doing that, I was like, right, I'm gonna take you and place you in a corner, out of the way, where you can't do that again, and then you're safe. And then what happens, I forgot I put him in that corner, and then I nudged him and he fell down and he lost them again! And the thing is, because he was in a corner, so like they couldn't have gone far. I am in a small room here, like there's nowhere for them to go. But one sickle just fell into the void. And you guys watch Breaking Bad. You must have watched Breaking Bad. There's an episode, you might even know where I'm going already, where Walter White tries to kill a fly. And the entire episode, the entire 45 minutes or an hour with commercials episode is spent with him in his lab trying to catch a fly. That was me for 2 hours this morning, turning this tiny little corner upside down to try and find this little toenail clipping looking sickle. Couldn't find it. Not for love nor money. It had fallen into the void. And then I glanced at my guitar. And it was right next to, like, Moon Knight hit the guitar as it fell down. And I was like, it must have fallen into the guitar. That's the only answer. That it's inside the guitar. And I was like, the guitar cost £10 second hand on Facebook Marketplace. A new Moon Knight costs at least 20. The decision's an obvious one. So, do I feel ashamed? Yeah, I do. Do I feel even more ashamed at the fact that after doing that, I then found the sickle under my chair? Yeah, that happened. But I found it! So, there you go. Here's a happy story. So that's why Moon Knight is currently holding his larger moon sickle, because my goodness, I was not going to mess around with those again before filming this camera piece. So am I going to keep the large moon in his hand? Maybe I will, because it's just safer. It's just safer, it's less hassle and stress, but that's the thing. Why does this guy rank so highly? Because he does look so cool when he's got the 3 sickles between his knuckles. I've not seen that in a figure before. Apparently the previous Moon Knight had it, but I don't have him. But yeah, he's got the 3 sickles, it just looks cool. He's got them there like he's about to batarang them out. That just looks awesome, so yeah, I probably will put them back, but I'm gonna be careful this time. In the meantime though, I've been ranting for like 5-6 minutes and I haven't actually spoken about the figure, and what a figure. What a figure he is. Again, I worry that this isn't focusing too well, but again, if you want to see nice focused videos, go and watch the Carly lady, the Annoying You with Friendship person, or Super Sorrel. I love Super Sorrel. Go watch him. His video setup is way better than mine. I like that guy. He seems like a nice guy. But yeah, this figure is just, again, chef's kiss. Two chef's kisses in one video. I don't mind repeating myself because he's worth it. I was on the fence about getting him originally. I was like, do I need a Moon Knight? And then I was like, yeah, I do. And then when I saw him, I was like, oh my god, this is so pretty. It's a stunning figure. A lot like Agent Anti-Venom. He's got the white with the silver, which just breaks it up so nicely. But then his belt and his shin guards here, or his boot covers, whatever they are this kind of pearlescent sort of shade and tone. That just makes it look really pretty, so stunning when it catches the light. Of course, being bright white, you got to be incredibly careful. I'm surprised his mum doesn't tell him off for getting grass stains on his costume when he fights crime. But you see also, like, there's a nice bit of grey shading on the back of the cape, which just brings it out a little bit more. And speaking of the grey shading, you've got that, excuse me, a little gassy. It was gas. You got the grey shading on his hood as well, which just gives it more depth and texture. It looks great. Everything works. You sometimes get those figures where just everything comes together and just works. It makes sense, you know? I gotta admit, it's like my current relationship. It's just like we work together. You know, we probably shouldn't because we're very different people, but we do. Unfortunately, I haven't seen her for nearly a year. Can you believe that? She's working in Hong Kong and I'm here, and it's been literally nearly a year, and we don't know when we're ever going to see each other again because we're literally not allowed to enter each other's countries. It's friggin' nuts. But I have these videos to, you know, keep my mind occupied and stop me from going crazy. So no, genuinely, I'm fine. Is what every crazy person says. Don't call me crazy. You're crazy. Here is Moon Knight looking the bomb, and he came with the black face mask as well. This Moon Knight is just wonderful. I do like the blackface mask, but it just I like the effect that it's going for, because they do draw Moon Knight like that very often with just the white cowl that's all dark on the inside. But I find that when you actually see it in 3 dimensions on a figure, it just looks like he's wearing a black colored face mask, and I like him being all one uniform color. I think that makes a lot more sense. So yeah, when he's on a flight stand, which he normally is, he just looks so dramatic, just swooping into battle like that. Absolutely stunning, and again, well deserving of his place. Not in the top 3 though. No, there's some big guns still to come, and yeah, I look forward to telling you all about them.
Number 3.
Alright guys, this is it now. This is the top 3. We're nearly an hour in. This is epic. I feel like I'm doing my own Royal Rumble Iron Man sort of spot here. You know, going all the way. Number 1 to number 30. So yeah, top 3 now. Coming in with the Demo Goblin, or Demo Goblin. Demo Goblin, Demo Goblin, call him what you want to call him, but call him a badass figure. This guy, I said that, you know, it's alright to include BAFs, and this is a BAF that definitely deserves it. A controversial BAF when it was announced, because people did say, does it warrant being a BAF? You know, when we're in this wonderful day and age of, you know, well, actually, we've always been in the day and age of big BAFs. I mean, we're actually in the day and age of smaller BAFs now, because we used to have, like, Apocalypse and stuff. Now, that was a BAF. But no, this is, for our generation of BAFs, this is relatively small. You could have made this a single release. But hey, look, I'm not going to get too upset about it, because what we do have is a stunning looking figure. And again, one that I never thought we'd get either, which is so good, because he is pretty obscure. You know, Demogoblin hasn't been around for about 25 years, give or take, not since he was killed off in Maximum Carnage. And that's why I was so excited to get him, because he's part of Team Carnage for Maximum Carnage. We have now Carnage, Doppelganger, and which should probably be one of my worst Marvel Legends. It's such a disappointing one, that, and Demogoblin. So now we just need Shriek and Carrion, and we've got the full Survivor Series team of Carnage in Maximum Carnage. But yeah, Doppelganger looks terrific! First of all, his fire glider. Oh, just, you know me, the fire, the translucent plastic, with light hits it, it just looks phenomenal. And the sculpting here with the gargoyle sort of looking face with the claws coming out, absolutely beautiful. And I've got a second one as well to use for the Red Goblin, which I should maybe add a little like gunmetal paint to make it look more like his glider, but yeah, I'm not creative. I just buy stuff. so I might pay someone else to do it for me. Not that I have any money left now. So, not Hobgoblin, Demogoblin. Ah, geez, remember when I kept calling Dormammu Baron Mordo? That was a whole thing, wasn't it? Demogoblin looks phenomenal. The face sculpt is just gnarly. Because it's a smaller figure, I'm more impressed that they've got so much detail going on with the gnashing teeth and like the sunken eyes with the darker paint around them. This is just perfectly capturing what I would want the Demogoblin to look like. Again, with the sharp claws, you know, sort of jutting out from the torn and ragged costume, the lovely belt buckle there. It's phenomenal. You know, the more I look at it now, the more I'm really happy with this guy. Again, he's kind of lost in the back of the 90s display. I need to start like rotating things more. I need to do like crop rotation, but with figures, because Demogoblin deserves a lot more spotlight. He's what he needed to be, and then some. And he sets an example for what characters should be, the artistry that goes into them. And Hasbro have been doing that more and more. We get a lot more killer and a lot less filler, I find. We still get some filler, and some that are like painfully close to being really good, but they just kind of fall down at the end. Like we're getting Phage on the Bucky Cat mold, and that's just such a lazy decision. Come on, guys, you can do better. And like we see it because we can see that you can do better. This is what I'm talking about. Especially the bright translucent pumpkin bomb I've got here. Honestly, I can't remember if this is his pumpkin bomb. Is it? Did he come with this pumpkin bomb, or did I repurpose this from something else? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, Demogoblin, absolutely wonderful figure. You know, great on his own, great in the 90s display, great with the Maximum Carnage lineup, and the character himself is one, again, with the sort of the body horror side of things. I talk about him in my McFarlane retrospective, where, you know, Hobgoblin, I think was it Jason Macendale? It wasn't Roderick Kingsley, it was Jason Macendale, because Roderick King Kingsley's got more sense than to sell his soul to a demon. So we have that wonderful body horror where like he rips his mask off and you know, he's still like the Hobgoblin like deformed underneath. It's like whoa! And then eventually like he completely transforms into this goblin creature before having it split off from him and make its own entity in the Demogoblin. And now we've had a new Demogoblin, a Demagoblin, in the form of, which I didn't like because they sacrificed Shriek so that the goblin could take over her soul and come back as the female sort of Demagoblin. I didn't know that hell demons were that sort of worried about fixating on gender, but there you go. So I hope that we get Shriek back. Maybe they'll do exactly like they did with Hobgoblin, which was, you know, the Demogoblin will like split off from her and then we can have Shriek back and we can have Demogoblin as well. Because yeah, like a sexy, terrifying female Demogoblin, I'm down with that. But in the meantime, we have classic Demogoblin here, and he is killing the game.
Number 2.
Guys, it's we're at that time. This is the top 2, and these were almost interchangeable, but you know, with I was talking about recency bias at the start of this. Recency bias almost put this guy in the number 1 spot. But I'm like, I can't put him in the number one spot. Like it's too much of just like, he's too fresh. Like there's too much of that argument that's why I want him to be number one. But he very much almost was, because ladies and gentlemen, we've got the Punisher Rider figure. Oh my goodness. The more I've had the chance to like photograph this guy and sort of play about with his accessories and poses, the more I just absolutely adore what Hasbro have achieved with this. They just knocked it clear, like out of the park. It's just, it's so funny that this was a figure that I was on the shelf about. Like I was like, I don't really need it. I've got a vintage Punisher, you know, this like modern version of Frank. He's not really having any interactions with Spider-Man. I don't really need it. And then like, you know what? Screw it. No, this justifies itself like 10,000 times. He just looks so great. I've not seen a negative review about this guy. So if you want like the looks at articulation and accessories and all that kind of thing, look at any one of the bajillion reviews, because they will all show you what this guy has to offer. And what he has to offer is just everything. Like this figure just has everything. I'm gonna take him off the bike for a second. See, that was the thing, like I know that he would look cool, like obviously riding the bike, but at the same time, he has so many great accessories that, you know, I don't want to, you know, go with only one accessory. So he's got both in hand here. Plus the other two machine guns, the Uzi and the Big Trouble in Little China Jack Burton pistol, they're on the Agent Venom. So that works pretty well. But yeah, so he's posed as though he's like, you know, just been hacking some guy up and he's got back on his bike and he's gonna fire off the shotgun and then take off. So that works pretty well. But yeah, the Frank head sculpt here, it's just so beautifully detailed. Like this is what a face that has been fighting crime and wars for 40 years looks like. You know, he's beat up, he's trashed. He's got the bruising, the broken nose. I broke my nose once when I was doing pro wrestling. I got a knee to the nose, and it wasn't until I got back home and my mum saw me. I was quite young at the time. She was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Oh, I just bonked my nose." And then I looked in the mirror, and it was like, whoop. It was like curved around the side of my face. I was like, "Well, I think I got to go to the hospital." Very similar to this. And then actually very similar. I've got a scar on my forehead from when I was mugged. I was mugged when I was in Kingston once, and it wasn't like it really like when someone says like someone sees someone get beat up and they're like, "Oh, dude, that was a mugging." No, this was they whooped my ass, but they didn't get any money. Yeah, can't steal from you if you're broke. So anyway. This guy looks absolutely phenomenal. I love the sort of shotgun. I love the sculpting on the holster. I've already done an unboxing, so I probably shouldn't linger on too much. But you keep discovering new things. Like I saw it on a review video, and then I forgot about it. It wasn't until today that I saw like the little Punisher speedometer here, which I mean, like it's kind of funny and ridiculous. Like, why would the Punisher personalize his bike? It doesn't make any sense. But for a toy, it looks fantastic. Again, you got Punisher 616 on here for the sake of a toy. It's like it kind of breaks kayfabe, you know. But I'll allow that because for an action figure, it's fun. It's fun and it works. And this guy like straddling the bike like this. Yeah, it's such an easy choice for a number 2 spot. But it is number 2. And anyone who knows me and has seen my previous videos, I think you can guess what's number 1.
Number 1.
Yes, guys, rolling in at number 1, it is, of course, the other rider in my collection, the Ghost Rider. Now look, I'm not gonna bang on too much about this guy because I have an entire review video where I just sing the praises of this stunningly, fantastically beautiful character. So I'm gonna let that kind of speak for itself. There's a link in the description below, but you know, in the meantime, it still has to be said, like, of course this guy's number 1. I mean, I still feel this has yet to be topped. The work and the thought, just the thought that has gone into it makes all the difference. I mean, look at the skull. Look at this, the fact you can still sort of see me through the skull because of the articulated jaw. You can open and close the jaw, so you can have him however you want. I mean, how many Marvel Legends can you open and close the mouth of? This might be the only one. If we're ever doing a Marvel Legends pub quiz, there you go. This is probably. Oh no, wait, you got Lizard as well. Yeah, there's a few monsters you can probably open and close their mouth. But yeah, Ghost Rider. It allows so many posing possibilities. I know this is the most sort of generic one. This is how you should be expected to pose him, and it's exactly what I do because it just looks great with the flaming chain that fades from solid chain into this flaming fire. That is such a lovely, lovely touch. The flames on the back, which again, translucent, the sun shines through. You can pop them off to make the bike look more like a regular bike, but you still have the flaming wheels, so that doesn't really make sense. And it's kind of annoying because whenever I'm moving this guy about, these flames are always falling off. One slightly funny / incredibly annoying thing was I was posing him with like a little stand under here, so he was like leaning forward. And the problem, which I didn't think about, was that this room gets incredibly hot. And these flames are very heavy. Okay, can you see where I'm going here? They're very heavy and they're resting on these flimsy little exhaust things. So basically they weighed down and eventually bent the exhaust in the heat. So I think at some point I'm gonna have to reheat these exhaust pipes and sort of push them up and then like flash freeze them like the T1000 and, you know, get them back into their nice straight position. But again, that's something that's fine. I can live with that. That's not a big problem. It's not broken. That's the important thing. It's just something that needs a little bit of tinkering. But yeah, I could tinker and play around and pose this thing all day, you know, all day, every day, and twice on Sundays, because it's just terrific. Well deserving of the #1 spot on my top 10 list. I find like there's so many, as I said at the start, there's so many figures that I could have interchanged and put in and taken out. That I didn't even have. There are no mutants. There's no X-Men on this entire thing. Huh, interesting that. I was never a big X-Men person, but I loved the 90s, the classic X-Men. I find like nowadays, like the mutants in general, they're just so kind of like high and mighty, and they seem like mutants like with the House of X storyline and all that kind of thing. It's always a real us versus them, we're sort of so much better than everyone else. I'm like, you know what? If I was in the Marvel Universe, I wouldn't want to be a mutant. Because I wouldn't want to be like these guys who just, you know, they think their farts don't smell. And I'm like, no, X-Men, you're losing me. I liked it when they were more relatable. You know, when the X-Men had the mansion in Westchester and they sort of, you know, interacted, and they always, whenever they had team-ups with, you know, like Spider-Man and the Avengers, it felt like, hey, we're all together, working together. Whereas now, whenever the X-Men interact with other Marvel characters, they're like, oh, we'll bring ourselves down to your level to work with you. And it's like, get out of here. All right, give me the street level characters that live in an apartment and work a 9 to 5 and are just trying to do their best. Not you. The X-Men is. I feel like they're trying to make X-Men like Game of Thrones. They're trying to make them all like kings and queens and sort of a whole sort of regality thing. I'm like, this isn't my X-Men. Which is kind of lucky because then when Hasbro released their House of X wave next year, I'm like, whew, I can save some money. But that notwithstanding, here is my #1 spot, an easy pick, the Legends Ghost Rider. What a figure, and what a top 10. That was, I thought I was gonna go long. I didn't think I was gonna go an hour long. You got your money's worth out of this one. It's lucky I have nothing else to do. Actually, that's a barefaced lie. I, at the very least, need to go to the gym today, and I'm about to start my 3rd year of Open University. So, actually, with that in mind, yeah, maybe I need to get out as many videos as quickly as possible because things might get a little bit hectic when we hit October. But I mean, I'm not going to be going anywhere, at least, so I'm going to need to do something to kind of, you know, keep my mind right, and I'm not focusing too much on studies and the stress they're involved and all that kind of thing. So guys, since this has been such an epic video, I might as well not rush it now. If you've watched this far, you're gonna watch a little bit more, I would hope. Although I'd be interested to check the analytics of this and see like how many people switched off after 2 minutes. They're like, oh, I've got no time for this guy. Oh wait, there's an abridged version. Oh, I'll watch that. Thank you so much for joining me on this like Marvel Legends Dave Displays model behavior journey so far. Recently the subscriber number has been increasing like quite steadily, and I don't know what I've done for that to happen, but I'm really pleased that I have. Like, I'm absolutely chuffed. I mean, I know like, well, I'm like at 220 something subscribers at this point, which again, I know like it's nothing compared to like actual big channels, but you know, started out with nothing, now I'm here. So that's pretty cool. So thank you so much for supporting the channel, you know, just with the likes and subscriptions and the comments. I love the feedback, I love the interaction. I'm pretty sure I'm a dopamine addict, because you know, every time I hear a little bing on my phone, I'm like, ooh, someone commented. And so I'll always fire back, because I love the interaction and the discourse. I think that's so much fun, because again, like, I don't really know anyone in person who collects Marvel Legends. So to have this whole community online, all the people on the various web pages, Marvel Legends UK, Marvel Legends Community, the Jebfire Club, you know, these guys make collecting fun. You know, this is, it's you a-holes who are responsible for me buying so many of these things, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then click down on the various videos to see more. And in the meantime, guys, yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep those subscriptions going up, because again, just the more feedback I get, the more I know how to structure what people want to see, and the more I get out of making the videos. And trust me, I get a lot out of making these videos. So yeah, follow me on Instagram as well, displaying model behavior, and I'll see you guys in the next video.